station that's on your side. This is News 12, first at 5.
Tonight, police are searching for a suspect after a man was found shot dead outside a local Waffle House. We're live at the scene with the latest on that investigation. And the world is rallying together to support the families affected by the Atlanta spa shootings. How much one GoFundMe is already raising. But first, the American Rescue Plan is bringing more than just stimulus checks to people's pockets. Here at home, Augusta will receive about $40 million. The city of Aiken will get $5 million, and North Augusta will get $9 million. The question now, what will they do with this funding? Our Brady Chapman joins us now live in the studio with these answers. Brady.
And Meredith, we've seen several phases of relief money coming through over the past year, and this is the biggest chunk, and this can be used for anything, from fixing roads to small business help. And here in Augusta, the city administrator says plans are still being worked on, and they're waiting on official rules from the federal government. But over in Aiken, council is looking at water and sewer upgrades, economic development, and helping their small businesses continue to bounce back from the pandemic. In North Augusta, there's also a big need for wastewater and sewer improvements, and even repairing and repaving roads. Mayor Bob Pettit says there's no plans to use the money for unpaid bills at Riverside Village.
Infrastructure, particularly wastewater and water lines, people don't think a thing about them until there's a failure. Roads would be another, repaving, reconstructing roads in the city that have, again, already been identified in the plan.
The cities can't sit on this money. They have to use it by the end of 2024. Everyone I spoke with says they're expecting to hear from the federal government soon, and what some Augusta commissioners hope to see this money used for on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
All right, thanks for that, Brady. Taking a look out now, some clear skies over there on Wheeler Road, but boy, if the wind blew for 1 second, I think a yellow cloud would blow across the road. I don't know about you, but my car is a lovely shade of canary. Chief Meteorologist Riley Hales looking at that.
I think all our cars, Meredith. I know I had to spray off my car earlier today, and it will likely be covered in yellow when I go back out later this afternoon. But we have seen a beautiful afternoon, and with beautiful conditions, that's when that pollen does come out. That's what we're seeing this afternoon. Starting to see a few high-level clouds move in, but as far as temperatures go, very warm, hitting mid-70s here in Augusta. Just been a little bit breezy. Those northeast winds have been staying fairly steady between 10 to 15, which is just helping elevate that pollen count as well. Here's a current look at our temperatures. Saluda, you're the cool spot at 69. The rest of us sitting in the mid to low 70s. A fantastic afternoon across the area. And we are expecting a fairly mild evening as well. If you have any plans, we're going to stay dry through this evening. And temperature-wise, we are expecting to stay in the 60s up until around midnight. Now, past midnight into early tomorrow morning, we're going to see these low temperatures bottom out in the low 50s to upper 40s. A little bit warmer inside the metro. Rural spots potentially getting to 48, 49, but not too much of a chill out there to wake up to early Tuesday morning. Here's visible satellite just showing cloud cover moving in. We are expecting more clouds and sun as we roll into our Tuesday, but we are expecting to stay rain-free on Tuesday. We'll take a look at that next chance for rain with that weather maker moving across the plains in the full forecast.
All right, thank you, Riley. Richmond County deputies looking for this man. Take a good look. This is Andrew Dion Gaines. He's wanted in connection to a shooting earlier this morning at an Augusta Waffle House. The victim, 32-year-old Nicholas Wilson, was shot at least once, then taken to AU where he later died. If you know where Gaines could be, if you think you've seen him, call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll take you live to the scene with more on where that investigation stands. The CDC says the 7-day average of new COVID cases is increasing compared to last week, but it's not all bad news. As Natalie Brand reports, the U.S. could be on the verge of adding a 4th vaccine now in the fight against the pandemic.
Results from U.S. trials of the AstraZeneca vaccine are in. They show the vaccine was 79% effective at preventing COVID-19 symptoms, and the company says it was 100% effective at stopping severe illness and hospitalizations.
The good news is also that there was comparable efficacy across ethnicity and age.
Health experts believe the vaccine, which is already approved in other countries, will play a key role in global vaccination efforts. This comes as new cases here in the United States are up slightly, with states seeing a growing proportion of those new cases attributed to variants.
Believe me, I get it. We all want to return to our everyday activities and spend time with our family, friends, and loved ones. But we must find the fortitude to hang in there for just a little bit longer.
The head of the CDC says now is not the time to travel.
The city of Miami Beach is currently under a state of emergency.
Miami extended a curfew after video this weekend showed large crowds of mostly maskless spring break revelers. Vice President Kamala Harris traveled to Florida Monday as the administration continues its nationwide tour, touting the recently passed $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. The vice president visited a vaccination center in Jacksonville.
Thank you. I'm every breath of myself. Thank you.
In New York City, Mayor Bill de Blasio welcomed public high school students back for in-person classes Monday. Safety measures will include weekly random COVID testing.
The CDC says nearly 25% of the American population has received at least one vaccine dose. About 13% of the population is fully vaccinated. Photos released today show migrants crowded into holding areas separated by plastic sheeting. This is at a temporary processing center near the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas. President Joe Biden's administration is battling a growing crisis at the border. This as more migrants make their way to the U.S. to escape violence, natural disasters, and economic struggles. Officials now plan to house some migrant families in hotels under a new program managed by nonprofit organizations. Two South Carolina men expected in court today for their involvement in the January 6th Capitol riots. You can see Elliot Bishlai and Elias Irizarry in this picture. Irizarry with a metal pipe in his hand. Now, the two were seen on camera several times during the Capitol riots. Federal officials say the men are facing charges for entering or staying on restricted grounds without lawful entry, also violent entry and disorderly conduct. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear the Justice Department's case against the Boston bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. He received the death sentence, but a federal appeals court threw out the sentence in July. The appeals court cited jury selection issues. Now the Justice Department wants the Supreme Court to let the death sentence stand. Almost $3 million have been raised for the children of one of the victims from the Atlanta spa shootings. 51-year-old Hyun Lung Grant leaves behind two sons. One of the sons, Randy Park, set up the GoFundMe to help pay for rent, food, and monthly bills. So far, more than 72,000 people have donated. On the page, Park says his mother's murder is, quote, something that should never happen to anyone. Construction starts tonight along several highways in Columbia, Richmond, and Wilkes counties. You're taking a look at where new indentation rumble strips will be installed. You can see there along the blue lines. It includes Mike Paget Highway, Peach Orchard Road, and Washington Road, just to name a few. Construction starts tonight from 7 o'clock until 6 in the morning. You can find more details on our website. Tickets now on sale for the Battle of the River Rivalry Peach Belt Conference. This is a partnership with the USC Aiken Pacers and the Augusta University Jaguars. Fans will need to visit greenjacketsbaseball.com to buy tickets. There are no phone orders and no in-person orders. Tickets will be sold in pods of 2 or 4 with a limited amount of 3 pods. The cost, $13 or $10 for lower seating. The game is March 30th with gates opening at 5:30. Traveling is increasing, and the TSA is reporting millions coming through U.S. airports on a daily basis. What you should know if you plan on traveling. Next, Riley.
We're expecting a warm week up ahead with highs getting back above average. Have a look at that and potentially some rain later into the week. Next.
A backlog in appointments now leading to increased health concerns.
Yeah, we're busy. I mean, we rarely have openings in our chairs.
The 2 things you need to watch for within your own family. Tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Introducing an innovative flooring product so beautiful.
There's a popular hemp product popping up around the country and here at home that users say will give a similar high to marijuana. Right now, Delta 8 is legal in South Carolina and Georgia, and business owners say it is extremely popular. Street House reporter Adam Mitzner is speaking to experts and to South Carolina lawmakers about this product. So, Adam, let's just start at the basics here. How is Delta 8 actually different from marijuana?
Meredith, it's actually not that different. I spoke to the Vice President of Research at the University of South Carolina. He calls Delta 8 Delta 9's little cousin. Well, Delta 9 THC is the psychoactive part of marijuana, the part that gets users a little high. But I want you to take a look at this. These are some of the differences when we look at the actual chemical composition of these two different things. The first one that you see is Delta 8 and the other Delta 9. Now, one is legally sold in the U.S. under the 2018 Farm Bill, and one is a controlled substance. They are just a couple atom bonds different. Now, CBD business owner Mike Sims says he plans to keep selling and promoting Delta 8, but he says he doesn't like operating in this weird gray zone with little or no regulations and unclear rules.
It takes a vast amount of knowledge to really know these products, know how they're formed, how they're grown, how they're processed. So I think we do at least need a gatekeeper or some kind of regulatory system in place to make sure everybody's doing what are best practices for people's health and for the economy.
So State Senator Tom Davis, who's a Republican from the Beaufort area, is the sponsor of the medical marijuana bill that's set to be taken up in the South Carolina Senate in a committee in just a couple of weeks. He says because there is a huge demand for hemp products and marijuana, he wants to pass a bill that will regulate all these products. So I asked Davis, who's the main opposition to this? He said that right now it's actually a bipartisan bill, but the main opposition is coming from the law enforcement community. So I reached out to the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. They didn't have a comment about Delta 8 or medical marijuana at this time, but in the past, the chief of the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division has said that he doesn't like that the FDA doesn't have a big system in place right now to regulate these products. He also says there aren't the resources available to regulate them with him and his team. Also, that it's because it's so similar. It's hard for law enforcement to actually differentiate between marijuana, which is a illegal substance in South Carolina, and Delta 8, which is legal, causing a little bit of an issue. So it's a discussion that is going to keep happening, but for right now, still perfectly legal to get that Delta 8.
All right.
Reporting live from the South Carolina State House, Adam Minitzer, on your side.
Thanks for that, Adam. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Experts say because Delta 8 is not a regulated product, make sure you do your research before you buy it. Also, talk to your doctor before using it, and be aware Delta H THC can show up on a drug test. For the 10th straight day, more than 1 million people were screened at U.S. airports. You're taking a look at what Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport looked like over the weekend. Federal health officials still caution against travel, and they are still continuing to push mask requirements. As you can see, Americans seem very eager to get back out and travel after a year of restrictions and limitations. Chris Pallone tells us what you should know if you're thinking about booking a ticket.
After a year of COVID lockdowns and restrictions, it appears Americans are itching to travel.
Consumers are really excited about getting out on the road.
In a recent consumer survey, the accounting firm Deloitte found adults who say they would feel safe staying in a hotel is at its highest level since last April, 46%. About a third said they'd feel safe flying. What's driving that increased confidence? Vaccines.
More than half of those vaccinated say that they're likely to travel in the next month, compared to 30% of the general population.
While the CDC still recommends Americans avoid traveling right now, travel expert Janine Tornatori says a trade group discovered just the mere act of planning a trip can lift spirits.
97% of Americans who just have a trip planned experience more joy, more happiness, and alleviated stress.
COVID has hit the travel industry hard and has even changed the nature of travel, with Americans spending more time outdoors and often seeking out campgrounds and home rentals instead of hotels to stay isolated from other people.
It limits their exposure to other individuals. They are able to support the sanitization of their space.
When you decide to travel, Tornatori advises researching cancellation policies for airlines, hotels, and attractions.
Make sure that you're getting on those tourism websites and understanding exactly what is going to be required of you before you book your trip.
It will be a while before we know if enhanced sanitation measures and the trend towards contactless experiences from travel vendors will become permanent in a post-pandemic world, but it's clear Americans are getting eager to find out. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Prescribed burns are being done at Fort Gordon training areas. This is a look at a burn that happened a couple of weeks ago. The fires are lit to get rid of highly flammable forest debris that can burn easily in a wildfire. When setting these fires, officials have to carefully check the weather to make sure they can keep the fires under control and to create minimal smoke. Riley, this is something you know a lot about. Could parts of the CSRA see today's smoke with the wind speeds that we're seeing?
Yeah, I think we likely did see a few controlled burns be performed. They got a couple messages on Facebook in Aiken County. Some people were complaining of some smoke, and it was a good day for it. We had good mixing heights, which means that once that smoke starts at the ground level, it's able to rise high in the sky and be transported away from the ground. Our steady northeast winds at the surface have been steady and out of the same direction all day long, which is really what burners need in order to maintain that fire and keep a good control over it as well. So you definitely may have smelled some smoke with some of those burns out there earlier today. Now we're up to 72. We've been as high as 76 so far here in Augusta. 72 is what they're feeling over in Aiken currently. We're expecting low temperatures tonight, generally close to 50. There will be some spots that briefly get into the upper 40s, while out here in the metro we'll most likely stay in the low 50s. So not too much of a chill early on tomorrow morning, and through tonight we're expecting to stay dry. Just a few more clouds starting to show up, but we can see that over in Aiken County just a second ago. There's definitely more clouds showing up than the abundant sunshine we saw for the majority of the day. And for your Tuesday, that's the trend that's going to continue. We're expecting partly sunny skies, which actually means more clouds than sun throughout the day. But despite the cloudy conditions tomorrow, we should still be able to see these highs, at least in the low 70s for us here in Augusta. Here's a look at those high temperatures tomorrow. Usual cool spots north of I-20, likely staying in the upper 60s. But if you live in Augusta or further south, you are expecting to at least hit 70 tomorrow. Should be another beautiful day to where we do stay dry. Despite the clouds on Tuesday, we will stay dry. But as we roll into our Wednesday and Thursday, a little bit better opportunity to see a few isolated showers, nothing too widespread or too heavy. The better opportunity to see heavier rain would be Friday into this weekend with our next approaching cold front. This system is now currently affecting the plains. Actually had a few severe thunderstorm warnings earlier across portions of Texas, but that threat appears to have gone down now. We are expecting dry weather though. Tuesday, just a few clouds going to show up. Tuesday night into Wednesday, we'll likely see just a few isolated showers, nothing too widespread or all too heavy. Most of the day, Wednesday and Thursday should be dry. As we roll into our Friday, this is going to be our cold front side of the system that moves on through, bringing us widespread rain chances, and then that front's just expected to stall right on top of us heading into the weekend. So unfortunately, looking ahead to the weekend, this can change next, say, 4 or 5 days, but as of right now, rain chances looking pretty good, but temperatures staying warm Thursday through Sunday.
All right, we'll take it. Thanks, Riley. The pandemic has changed the way students apply to college. Now, some schools have made it optional whether to submit certain test scores. We'll break down how this will affect who gets in next.
Life is hard, juggling work, family, finances, and taxes. Then 2020 comes along and adds furloughs, stimulus, unemployment, new tax laws. Don't stress. The tax experts at Wrdw Murphy are here to help. With 55 years of experience in filing over 750,000 tax returns, you'll be confident your taxes will be done right. And with 16 locations, they're right around the corner. Wrdw Murphy takes the stress out of filing taxes. Schedule an appointment now at wrdwmurphy.com.
The Live by Cam.
The number of applications submitted to U.S. colleges and universities surged this year compared to last. Because of the pandemic, many schools gave students more time to apply and even made it optional to submit the ACT and SAT. But will that change who gets in? Naomi Ruckham breaks it down.
Talk to most any high school senior, and you'll probably hear a story like this one from Tessa Ransom.
The ACT was canceled 3 times, and I was relocated out of state 3 hours away from my house.
That pushed the majority of colleges and universities to make standardized testing optional this year. And according to the most widely used college application website, Common App, what followed was 11% more college applications. Avery Schwartz applied to 12 with no test scores.
I saw that I could apply to higher level schools like Cornell, and have them more focus on, they said they wouldn't penalize it at all.
Common App's Jenny Ricard says the pandemic shined a light on admission practices that may have been excluding students.
So many of them have changed their evaluation process. And I think as a result, they're going to learn a tremendous amount about other predictors of success.
Common App found large selective universities like Cornell and NYU had 17% more applications compared to last year, many coming from minority students who are often underrepresented. Common App also found fewer applications came from first-generation college students this year, likely because of the pandemic.
So those kids who are filling out and completing federal financial aid forms, that's down 9%, which is a pretty substantial chunk.
Yari Martinez's family has struggled financially this past year, but having the first-generation college student apply was a priority.
My family's always pushed me to continue doing school. Even if we're not financially okay, we can still help you out some way or another.
She applied to 4 colleges and so far has been accepted to 3. Naomi Ruckham, CBS.
I'm sure your car is covered in pollen. If you need to wash in the next couple of days, rain chances will be low. Well, I'm going to look at that 7-day forecast next.
Ready, set.
We'll take a look over downtown Augusta. We've started to see a few more clouds show up, and this is going to be the trend heading into later tonight. We're expecting more of these high clouds to be moving on through, and actually most of your Tuesday should be fairly cloudy. Despite the clouds moving in, we've still made up to 76 degrees this afternoon. A beautiful day across the region. We are expecting generally dry weather at least through Tuesday. A few isolated showers possible Wednesday, Thursday, but the heavier rain chance definitely going to hold out until we get to later this week, Friday into this weekend. But take a look at these temperatures. Definitely going to be feeling like spring out there for us. It should be nice and generally rain-free, minus a few isolated showers Wednesday, looking dry Tuesday, Thursday before heavier rain shows up Friday and into the weekend.
All right, thank you, Riley. Still ahead, we take you live to the scene where an early morning shooting happened that left one man dead, where the investigation stands coming up in 3 minutes. Richard Rogers in the studio. He joins me after the break.